Okay, I'm Ducasse. I'm a student from the University of Buenos Aires in Argentina, a computer science student. And I'm doing an internship in the Arbol team of STEP in Lead. I'm writing my thesis, so I like to talk about the work I've been doing. I'm going to jump into the problem. It's very common that developers have to do many tasks simultaneously. For instance, you have to make a big refactor, and a critical bug comes to you and you have to fix it right away. So the good practices recommends you to perform atomic commits as often as possible. So what is an atomic commit? It's not atomic in a transactional sense. An atomic commit says that it should affect only one part of your system. This makes things easier to understand. It's also easier to find the bugs and solve it, and requires less effort in case you need to go back. But the problem with this is that the atomic commits are not enforced by tools. It's something that you have to do on your own. And in this situation, you may have to manually select changes that are unrelated. I mean, the refactor on one side, the bug fix on the other side. And with the traditional version control system, it's kind of messy because the changes are scattered in a lot of text files, and you lose a lot of information about how did you arrive to the result of your commit. So the objective to solve this problem is to help the developer in this cherry-picking process. The resulting change set should be atomic, and the limitations that it may have is not fully automatic. The developer can choose on its own to edit the change set, remove or add more changes at will, and it may not be completely accurate in all cases. What we would like is that the changes are more as objects, and to track the dependencies between those changes to define the atomic set changes. Also, the dependencies will be modernized. We have some tools that work this way. We have the change sorter in Smalltalk for a long time, but it's a lot of statements. Not all entities are objects, and the granularity you have is kind of coarse. It's not very fine-grained. I mean, if you change a variable that will appear in the change sorter as you modify the whole class. We also have Coexist, that is a very nice tool developed by Bastian Steiner. It's for Squeak. With that tool you can have many versions of the same application, and every time you change something, the test will be triggered automatically. automatically, so you can see right away if it works or it doesn't. It's a very good idea, very clever implementation. You have a Epicea, made by Martin Diaz. It's there in the back. It's change oriented. That means that the changes are recorded as they happen. We have also JET, made by Veronica Uquillas Gomez. That is snapshot based. That means that you have to import all the information from the repository before checking the dependencies between the changes. The proposed solution is to do this dependency analysis based on system history using Epicea. Currently, the working version of Epicea, what you have is this history log with all the changes that you made to your system. And the idea is to extend this, so if you click on the add dependencies and click this change in particular, it will add automatically the class foo that calls that method. Those changes are related. It's a very simple example. Well, we have basically three kinds of dependencies. It's class hierarchy, relationships, references to variables and classes, and message sends. We have here some examples. The software should be able to detect when we have the abstract time zone class that is related with these things in red. Well, that's basically. Among message sends, we have different cases. You can have message sends to self or super. In that case, you are restricted to the current class hierarchy. Otherwise, you have unknown sends. In that case, you have to include all the implementers in your candidate set, and that is, it may not be accurate in all cases. We have an implementation that is called tracks. It works on top of Epicea, as I said, and it's basically two visitors, one for Epicea events. The events define the entities that you modify and the action you perform on those entities. And in case we are dealing with a method modification or any operation, we delegate the algorithm to another visitor that works with the AST nodes of the method. You can take a look at the prototype in this repository. Well, we still have many things to do. We are in the middle of the integration with Epicea in the Epicea UI. We also like to visualize the dependencies by using Telescope. Maybe if you talked to Leo yesterday about Telescope, you can see that the dependencies are, it's a very good opportunity to use Telescope to do graphics with these dependencies. Shadowing is when a change is shadowed by another change. Like if you add a class and then remove it, it's like the two changes are cancelled between each other. That is a situation that we like to detect to help the developer. History reconstruction is, I think it's a nice idea. There's a very simple example that is when you add a class that inherits from an object, for instance. A subject was in your system before the logging of the operations began. There won't be an entry for object in the history log. So we add an entry to the log, and we can say that this entity is safe because it hasn't been altered through the history of the system. Okay, so in summary, to perform a cherry picking can be time consuming if what you are doing is quite complex, if you are working with many different things at the same time. We propose a tool to make it easier. The idea is to suggest additions to your chain set by finding these relationships between entities. Well, you can send feedback, comments to my email. I'll be here the whole week if you want to talk about it in more detail. Well, that's all. Anybody have questions?
So do you have a tool?
Sorry?
Do you have a tool?
Yes, it's not integrated with the UI of the PC.
But do you have a tool? Is there something that shows the change and things like that?
Only, I could show you only the test.
Ah, okay. Not yet. Okay.
Yes?
I'm not really sure if, whether I got what's the goal of the stuff, but I kind of understand the problem because I'm facing the same.
Okay.
Right? So, in the end, what matters is what's committed in the repository, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this tool is, the aim of this tool is kind of to help to structure the commits in, let's say, meaningful way.
The comments?
Comments, individual
Ah.
comments in the repository.
Okay.
Right? So, and the common scenario, if I got it correctly, is that I'm working on some feature,
Mm-hmm.
and then I just run into a bug,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to fix that bug, but fixing the bug, because I'm already there, I already debugged it. The fix for the bug has nothing to do with the feature as such, right? So, so I have some code which is, some feature code which is not yet finished, and I fixed the bug. Okay, and let's say that my image is based on the version 10.
Okay.
Right? Then I fix the bug. My feature is not yet finished, so I am not ready to commit it. But I fix the bug, and then the commit will become a commit, let's say 11, whose parent is the 10. And I do the commit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I work more and finish the feature. And I commit to the feature. And what would be the parent of the commit of the feature commit? You know,
Mhm.
will be the parent of a 10, or the parent of 11.
Okay.
Because in our, well, how I understand how I use it, I would like to make this feature commit to be child of the 10, right?
Okay.
So there will be a commit 12, but the parent of that commit is a 10. So I get, kind of branch and then I'm going to merge.
Mm-hmm.
But, this is not always easy to do. So
Yes.
what's your goal? What's your strategy? What should be the result using this tool?
The idea is that this can help you to separate those two things, and you can commit it in the order that you want to commit it.
Okay, we can discuss this.
Okay.
I should express myself better. Probably a little bit wrong.
Okay. Okay, we can talk about it.
But to answer your question, what you could do is that you could save in different commits, and then reload them and republish them in the order you want with the right ancestors and things like that, probably.
Yes, that's what I do, but I found it painful because it's just
yeah.
take a time.
Yeah, exactly. What I was wondering, your dependency analysis, does it take into account class extension? Because you see, yeah.
Yes.
So this means that if I modify something that belongs to a class extension, you identify it not as a dependency with the class, but with the package, the other package?
No, it works in the same way.
Because I have the option that maybe there is something there, because often when you do a class extension, so this means that you want that the code is packaged in a different way, and then if you touch this, this is valuable information that you know that this is in this extension.
You mean to leave the extension aside?
Or just to take into account that yes, this is not the class that is important, but that the fact that there is a change in an extension already, it means something.
Okay.
One more question?
Okay.